So I haven't made a video on this yet, and I thought I would real quick. I stopped using it. I stopped using it, and I did it a while ago, and I think I shared why on stream, and so maybe that's why I forgot to make a video about it. Um, I shared why on stream, and I also think I went over like what I'm doing now on stream as well. I can't remember. But yeah, I just stopped using it. And so how did it really come about? Like, why did I stop using knit? Well, I started using types. So I started using types, and I saw how if I wanted to use types with knit, I had to export types for every single service slash controller, and that was just a lot of like BS I didn't want to do, right? So I would actually go into ChatGPT for every module or whatever, every service and controller I had, and I would just give it to ChatGPT, and it would give me my export types bit, and I would just copy and paste that into my types file. Now, I found that to be incredibly inefficient, especially when you're working with knit, because you're always going back and forth between your services and controllers to, modify or add on to them. So because of that, I'm having to constantly update the types export, and I just found that to be really just inefficient. And imagine if it was like a team-based project that I was doing this on, it probably would be even more of an issue. But yeah, so I just kind of like dropped knit, and now all I do is something very simple. I actually don't I use Vide. I started using Vide because Vide is very Vide is a vibe. Vide is a vibe. Vide is like React, the but Towley from South Park. If if React was Kyle from South Park, Vide would be Towley, I feel like. Does that make sense? If you guys may not even know what South Park is, so basically Vide is just very simple, very to the point. And that's why I also don't like Fusion. Old Fusion used to be way better than like the new Fusion. New Fusion is doing some weird stuff. I personally don't like it, but that's just, I mean, I just don't like the syntax and how you're supposed to like set it up, and it seems kind of like I might as well use React at that point. The way Fusion is, I feel like. But Vide is just like to the point, to the point. So yeah, I use that as a UI for UI, right? I use that for UI. And then I literally just use modules and then server and local scripts, server and client scripts. That's really it. So I'll show you kind of like the setup I got going on here real quick. So here are my modules, right? So this is an actor module, okay? Um, Actor is what I call NPCs. I think NPC is just writing NPC in code, just kind of like, I don't like it, you know, because it's an abbreviation. So I call it actor instead, and I think that is just more clean in my head. So that's what the actors are. If you ever see me write actor, but so yeah, I have this like actor module here, and the beauty about this is that I can now have access to all of this, all the events, functions, whatever that are in my module. I can now have the IntelliSense for that, and that's a big reason. I started noticing like I use IntelliSense a lot more now. When I was even on knit, because I'm in VS Code, right? So you get like IntelliSense through extensions that you can um, add in your VS Code. So I just lost train of thought. But where was I going with this? All right. I literally just lost train of thought. Let me just look over where I was going. I'm just gonna move on. So I forgot the point I was trying to make completely. But anyways, oh yeah, IntelliSense. Yeah. So you get this IntelliSense. You don't get that with Knit. With Knit, you have to export your types. So boom, I get that IntelliSense right here. As you can see, like it's just that's just what it is. So I love using modules because of that. I don't use classes or metatables anymore because of that. I feel like if you're using classes and metatables, you might as well use Knit. That's kind of how I feel about that. Like, yeah, that's kind of how I feel about that right now. What else was I gonna do? So yeah, it's literally just that, and then I'm using typed remote and signal. These are the two I find myself using all the time. Typed remote and signal. Signals for bindables, typed remotes for events. I really don't ever use remote functions at this point. I really seldom use it. Maybe I'm not working on a lot of mechanics that it would be good to implement those, but I just seldom use them. I don't know. I mean, there are some things I could have used remote functions for, and I just chose not to. It's not like I never use them. I used one maybe like within the last couple weeks or something like that. So it's not like I never use them, but it's just I seldom use them. But anyways, typed remote and signal. I mean, dude, and I could honestly, I've even worked on a project where recently where I'm not even using these, and I'm literally just creating the remote events and bindable event, and I'm not even using any packages at that point. So I would always be using Vide though. But what I'm saying though is the amount of packages I use now are very low. I don't use that many since I dropped Net. Really, it's just I'm keeping it super super basic here. I mean, this is the clients. These are the client. This is the client code. Then you have server. This is boxes for server. So most of these I have a module for under modules. So like boxes right here would be the module. You know what I mean? And then I would have boxes.client, right here. And then boxes.server right here. So, I mean, to me, this is very, very organized and it's very, very clean. And it's also very, very efficient because I feel like any developer, past, intermediate, maybe with some experience in like good code practices, would be able to work off this and branch off of it. You know what I mean? Like obviously like a beginner dev's not going to be able to do that, but someone with some experience, someone that isn't the best, someone that isn't, super advanced, someone that understands code, mastered the basics, has built some things before, they'd be able to jump in and kind of like branch off, if they were to also keep it simple, you know. And I think that's what's important here, and that's what I'm focused on mostly ever since I dropped Knit, was just keeping things as simple as possible. Knit to me was very simple, but again, you don't have IntelliSense with Knit, so that did end up becoming a deal breaker. Aha, that was my point. Is because um, I noticed off of the extensions how much IntelliSense I was using like all the time. I started just realizing like actually, holy crap, like I'm using IntelliSense a lot. So, you know, and yeah, I mean that's pretty much that. I mean it's a very basic setup. It's a very basic setup, and you could build a whole game like this. You can build any game you want to like this. You know, you don't have to go crazy into classes. And these are, and mind you, I do want to share this too, because I feel like some people get confused. Um, is these kind of simulate classes still? I'm still like, you could say I'm using object oriented programming, you know what I mean? But I'm not using meta tables, okay? That's something that you could say. So, for example, I mean, this isn't like a really, really good. Where's a really good. Where's a really good. I mean, this is like whatever. So it's something like this, though, right? It's something like this, right? I'm just keeping a table. I just have tables, and I have keys, and I have unique IDs. So I have like a player key. So if it's pets per player, a player key is going to go right here. And I could actually just write it out real quick so you can kind of see what it's going to look like. So this is going to be the player. And then I could just put any right here, right? And that's that. Oh, what's happening? Oh, I could do this. Okay. So then string. So this is actually how it is. And then any right there, okay? So this, for example, this dictionary is going to have player key. Each player key, okay, is going to have a table, all right? And inside of that is going to be a unique key that is related to the pet. And then there's going to be the data. Actually, this needs to be, because unique key, I believe there's data, right? There's pet data, pet data, pet data. See? So again, we're going to go string, and now we're going to do any, right? So this is any value. So this is the unique key associated with the pet, right? The pet ID, you could say. Then it's going to have a table with like health, stamina. I don't know. I'm just coming up with random. It's not what it's going to be, but I'm just coming up with random values, right? That this could be. And then this would be the value, right? Which could be any, a number, a string, whatever. So that's kind of like object oriented, right? I mean, you could say it is, but we're just not using meta tables, okay? And the reason why is because meta tables, you don't get that IntelliSense. Same reason why we're not using knit. You just don't get that IntelliSense. I think that's it. I think that's it. And yeah, so that's why I'm no longer using knit. And this was months ago. When was my knit video that I did 6 months ago? This was like 4 or 5 when I stopped. So like a month after this video is probably around the time that I stopped using knit. And I I still don't think, like, I would never sit here and, you know, freak out or get discouraged or, you know, belittle somebody for using knit present day. Like, if you want to, I still think it's like, go ahead. But there are negatives for using it now. I would never use it in a team situation, and I don't even use it personally now because it's just, I like IntelliSense and I want to have that in my projects, and I want to have it. I want to be able to have it with ease in my projects. You know what I mean? So like modules, just having a module, automatic IntelliSense. Um, so yeah, but I still would not knock anybody. Like, I still think knit. I don't know. I would. It was great for its time. It was great for its time. Do I think it's good now? No, because we have modules and we just use server and local scripts. It's really the better way, I feel like. But yeah, just thought I'd make this video, share that with you guys. See you guys on the next one. Peace.